Hi there, I'm Sally. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel, How I Got There, from Cult Survivor to Writer. For those of you who've already subscribed, thank you, yay. Those of you who are new, please click the subscribe button. It helps me get out there more on YouTube, makes me more visible, and it doesn't cost you anything. And you may be helping someone find me who's trying to get out of the Jehovah's Witnesses. You never know. A few disclaimers here. One is, yes, I did grow up in the Jehovah's Witness family, and my family is still in the Jehovah's Witnesses. Two, I don't debate with the Bible with anyone. I don't want to get in that circular argument with people because this is a cult, and this is why I do these videos, because I show the outside world one lie at a time that a Jehovah's Witness will tell you and what they believe, and then I break it down to what is actually happening. So I don't feel like I need to bring the Bible into this, but I just want to disclaim that. And the second thing is, I have some links below in the very first comment that I pinned that will take you to some of my writing. I do write an article on Medium about growing up cultish, and I write fiction, and I actually have a book I wrote called The Truth is a Lie, and it's for young adults. I'm hoping to get that published very soon. And I'm just a creative person, so that's why I enjoy doing these videos. So I haven't been around for a little while. You may have noticed. I had a busy couple of months. I started my own business. I am now a small business consultant, and I help writers as well. And I do this activism against Jehovah's Witnesses, and it keeps me pretty busy. I had my family. I lost my kitty cat. I don't know if I've done a video since then, but you won't hear him coming through meowing. But he had a wonderful life. He was 18 years old, so my house is kind of quiet now. But I want to get to today's topic, which is education. And Jehovah's Witnesses, if you ask them, will tell you they believe in education. And they'll say, well, we have lawyers, we have attorneys, and I'm not talking regular school, I'm talking higher education. I'm sorry, I should have clarified that. They will say, well, we have attorneys and doctors and nurses, and we have people who've got higher educations. Well, 99% of those people got their education before they converted into the cult. And so it's kind of misleading for them to say that to you. I'm going to be looking off the screen here a few times because I have some things written down, so I'm sorry. But I went onto the JW website and looked up what they believe about education, higher education. And the first thing I noticed was they quickly separated out the us against them, meaning Jehovah's Witnesses against the secular world. Their first statement was, we find our education principles, we base our education based on principles found in the Bible. Now, that right there is just saying we based our stuff on the Bible. People that aren't Jehovah's Witnesses do not do that. Okay. Secondly, I don't recall any Bible verses on school and education. But I did do a quick search because I do know that it does talk about instruction and wisdom and increased learning. It doesn't say for you to be dumb. It certainly doesn't say that, and it doesn't say give up your education to serve Jehovah. And here's what they say: education helps a person develop practical wisdom and thinking ability, qualities that the Bible praises highly. So this is the part where they're doing the us part. This is the us part. Governments also see the value of education and require young people to receive a primary and secondary education, and we comply with such laws. Okay, so us, well, we're complying with what the government says that we need to do. I think if the government didn't have that laws or those rules, you wouldn't see any Jehovah's Witness kids in any school. We examine the secular education separately. And I'm not sure what this means, but they say the Bible says the naive person believes every word, but the shrewd one ponders each step. So to me, growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, this is one of those little disclaimers that they love to use in case they get caught. And it's, yeah, we don't really think you should have a higher education. Really, no, you shouldn't. Not gonna. It's well known in the Jehovah's Witness world. It's frowned upon. In fact, if you get a higher education or you try to, you are considered a bad association, and people won't talk to you. They will leave you alone. But this is the one little phrase they say that, we're shrewd. We ponder what we should do each step. It's a bunch of malarkey. I would use a different word, but as you can see, they've already separated themselves, and they've separated you. And after this is on their website, by the way. It's on the frequently asked questions page. If you just put in education, you can read the whole article. I just took some sentences out of it. I can't stand to read too much of their material, but after they have separated the secular world from the Jehovah's Witness world and made it clear it's us against them, and that the outside world is not biblical, they drive it home. Spiritual education has greater value than secular education. Direct quote. Higher education can lead to moral and spiritual dangers. Direct quote. So, they've just told you, just think about it, use wisdom. And then they drive it home with these two things. Basically, if you get a higher education, you're being ridiculous because there's no value in it. You need to be closer to God with the secular education. And then they drive it home even farther. There's danger. So I'm going to drive this home even farther, because before a person even gets to the stage of their life where they're considering a higher education, in school, if you get to go to a real school and not a home school or a Jehovah's Witness school, you are already secluded from the rest of the children. I know I've talked about, when there's parties, I've had to sit outside. When there was dances, I couldn't go. But it's more than that. There's no sports. You're not allowed to join any sports. And they're not going to tell you that. That's going to be another lie. We don't tell people that. Well, they do. Because if you join a sport, you are taking away from Jehovah, and you will become an outcast. You will be, it's just the way it is. And that's the lie that they tell you. So there's no sports. You couldn't participate in any music. No chorus, no band, no marching band, no orchestra, nothing. There's no participation in any school politics, of course, because Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote. I don't know what that has to do with voting for, the class president, but, can't do that. You can't join any clubs. So if there's after school clubs, you can't join those. No cheer squad, nothing. It's basically go to school, do the basic requirements, come home, study Jehovah. And during this time, as you're a child and you're growing up and this is the time you go to school, the rest of your time is devoted to going door to door or standing on street corners, reading the literature, which without an education, I don't know how you could read the literature, but you have to prepare for every meeting that you go to. And a meeting for you that aren't, is what you would consider a church service. They call it a meeting. You have to prepare ahead of time for all those. Plus you have to have a Bible study. Plus you have to have Bible studies with your family members or other people outside of your family. So really there is no time for extracurricular activities, and they've built that in because they want you to stay separate from the world, because they do not want you questioning or thinking outside of Jehovah. If you start doing that, you will start understanding that this is a cult and this isn't right. And so that is, to me, is the big reason why there's no education. But I digress. I go on rabbit trails sometimes. A child, and everyone actually in the Jehovah's Witnesses, a child is given these images of Armageddon continually. They're in the literature, they're in the Bible study books kids read, they're in their videos that they watch, and Armageddon is going to happen any day now. And it's been going to happen every day now since 1965, then 1977, and the 80s. It's just around the corner. We're in the last days of the last days of the last days. That's what they say. And so the fear of that happening, and a child not being 100% devoted to Jehovah, they fear that they're going to die during Armageddon and they will not live in paradise on earth. Again, a Jehovah's Witness will lie to you and say that's not true, but it's absolutely 100% true. That point is driven home daily, and you can lose what most Christians would say salvation. And I just use that as a term so you can understand what I'm talking about. They believe that you can lose that in a second just by stepping into a church, just by having a thought, just by I'm serious, just by having a piece of birthday cake. They have a video about that for kids, about a little boy who ate a birthday cupcake. So there's that underlying continual fear. And so keeping that in mind, and I sort of read to you verbatim some of the things about education, why would someone even consider it? They've already been shaped and molded into this us against them mentality, and I have to do what Jehovah tells me, or I will die. Okay? And again, they don't ever come right out and say, do not get a higher education. It's insinuated in the literature, but it's also told in many ways. Like I said, if somebody decides to go get a higher education, they can be considered a bad witness, and other witnesses won't associate with them. Now think if that is your whole life and that's all you know, and all of a sudden all the people aren't talking to you. Armageddon is looming in your head. What are the chances that you're going to finish that education? Probably not. Also, because the point is said many times that your secular education is not important at all, but your biblical education, your education on Jehovah is the most important thing. That is what they spend all of their time in. And that is why I won't argue with a Jehovah's Witness with the Bible, because they practice that so much. And I'm not good at that. I just know what I know, and I know the lies that they tell you. I want to share one other thing. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter video, but I want to share one other thing, and I will try to put the link below if I can find it. I searched for this video for a little bit, and maybe somebody can share the link. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago at one of their conventions. Now, convention is when all of the Jehovah's Witnesses in a certain area get together, and when I was a kid it was 4 days long. I think they're 2 days long now, I'm not sure. And they meet in a big stadium. I would go for 4 days in July to White Sox Stadium in Chicago and sit outside in the heat all day long, and you were not allowed to leave. And you sat with your family, and you sat and you listened. So that's what an assembly is. And we'll go into that another time, but I just wanted to give you that visual. They had played a video of this topic that I'm talking about. They had one about furthering your education and in the artist field. or being artistic, which really hits home for me because I'm a writer and I'm artistic, and I think that that is all godly qualities that he gave us, and I don't think you should be telling people not to do it. But the video anyway was about a little boy, I believe he was 7 or 8, and I can't remember if he played the piano or was the trumpet or something, but he was really good. And he's playing for his grandfather, and the grandfather's watching, you know, so humble and so godly and so like, oh, he's so wonderful. But the little boy was invited to go to a art school, a school of fine arts, to hone his skills. And the teacher had seen something in him. She saw a spark that this boy was a true artist, had talent, but he just needed a little guidance. And the little boy loved it. You know, he felt so happy when he was playing. Wah, 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 wah. It went downhill pretty fast. Grandfather, you know, took him aside in his loving wisdom. Oh, son, you can't do that, because you know what will happen? You will go out into the world, and these people, and I'm not exaggerating the voice here, these people will, you know, take your mind off Jehovah, and pretty soon you'll be doubting Jehovah, and you won't be loving Jehovah, and you'll be far away from Jehovah. What? A little boy who is wonderful at a musical instrument, wants to play. He could do so many things. You know, he could be writing songs, he could be in an orchestra, he could be helping people, whatever it is. Grandpa just said, nope, can't do it. And the kid said, you know what, right, Grandpa, I shouldn't do that. I'm taken away from Jehovah. It broke my heart. I'm going to try and find the video and post it. I couldn't find it on the site yesterday. But as I was saying that, I had another thought about education with a conversation with my mother. One of the very last conversations I had with her before I was completely cut off, she said, you know, she said that I was telling lies about the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I said, I'm not telling lies, I'm telling the truth. I said, you know, you don't believe in higher education, and that's something that I've been talking about. And she said, that's a complete lie. We believe in higher education. And I said, no, you don't. She said, well, we have, and this is what I started with, we have lawyers and attorneys and blah, 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 blah. And I said, but Mom, they were that way when they joined the Jehovah's Witnesses. And she said, well, we never tell anybody not to get a higher education. I said, that's a complete lie. That's not true at all. And that's what I'm talking about. And she said, well, okay, maybe you're right. You know, higher education isn't a good thing to get, because what happens is you learn about things like evolution, and then you stop thinking about Jehovah. And I was like, I didn't have an answer for her other than, so you don't think someone could think for themselves and make a decision like something, you know, like that makes sense to me, that doesn't make sense to me. Oh, I believe that, I don't believe that. And that says the Jehovah's Witness philosophy right there. No, you are not allowed to think for yourself. I didn't even tell her, you know, Mom, they teach that in grade school, you know. She's like completely, you know, out of it. But if you are an ex-Jehovah's Witness, I would love to hear in your comments your experience with education, or stories or things your parents have said to you. If you are a physically in and mentally out, I would also send me an email. You don't have to make a comment below. My email address is below. I would love to talk to you as well. I'm getting emails from several people, and I really, you know, I hope I'm sending encouragement back to them, because I know it's a hard thing to do. But like I said, subscribe, come back. I promise I'll have some more videos. If you have topics you want me to talk about, please share. But I am revealing the truth, is what they call themselves, one lie at a time. And so thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.